song can only mean one thing.
Football.
Everybody knows what that song means. Jeff Coruccini back, talking a little fantasy football again this morning. And where are we? Week
10.
10.
Week 10.
It just
so
flies by.
now is the time that you're starting to focus on the playoffs.
Playoff time.
We're going to talk about some players this week that you may want to trade. They're kind of sell-high candidates. Okay. Or if somebody offers them to you, you may not want to pick them up.
Is it too late, Week 10, if you've kind of been...
No, this is
behind
it.
the pack, you can still make up ground.
Yep, you got the next couple of weeks because Week 14 is when the playoffs start.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some Pro Bowl players. For example, Marvin Harrison, wide receiver of the Indianapolis Colts. He's had a nagging knee injury, right, and he has had some problems the last couple of weeks. He was cleared to play last week. He didn't play. He didn't travel with the team. So this is something that could be a week-to-week situation. And if you have him, even though he's been a stud in the past, you may want to try to trade him.
You want to move him out. Is he aging a little bit as far as
a little bit, but at the same point in time, I think the Colts are just being overly cautious, and they may even hold on to him just till the playoffs.
Okay, gotcha.
And then another Pro Bowl player who's not injured at all is Steve Smith.
Right.
Wide receiver, Carolina Panthers. The problem there is they don't have a quarterback that can throw him the ball. He's been real frustrated. Jake Delhomme was out for the season. Steve Smith's the other backup quarterbacks, Vinny Testaverde and David Carr, they haven't been able to get the job done. So defenses are keying on him. He's getting frustrated. He's not getting the ball. Another Pro Bowl player that you may want to look at moving.
That reminds me, this year, maybe with teams and players, the ones you kind of expected to be the stars maybe at least started out slowly.
Very much so.
The teams and the big shot players.
Very much so. That happened to players like Steven Jackson. It happened to players like Frank Gore. So there's a lot of injured players out there that people were expecting to get a lot of fantasy points. So, and a couple other players, Brian, that you may want to also move is one of them is Brandon Jacobs, who's a running back for the New York Giants. He's actually been playing well, but again, he's had some nagging injuries. And whenever you have a player that has injuries this time of the year, plus they're going to be going into the second half of the season, and they face some teams that are really tough against the run. So another running back that, again, you might want to sell them high while you can.
It's all about the matchups, right?
And then the final one is Cedric Benson, who's a running back for the Chicago Bears. They got rid of Thomas Jones last year. When the Bears went to the Super Bowl, they thought that Cedric Benson would be able to carry the load, and he is facing a tough run schedule from here on out. So this is another player that hasn't really performed. He may even play well this week, but you want to look at moving him.
We were talking a little bit about how fantasy football is maybe helping the league, kind of a grassroots effort, keep people interested. Some of the teams that we thought were going to be so good maybe aren't doing as well, and you just kind of lose interest if they're not up at the top of the pack. But you might if you had a player, fantasy football player.
Oh, absolutely.
On the team, right?
And that thing of fantasy football where advertisers have loved it because people and fans of fantasy football, they'll watch a blowout game just to see how their player performs. Yeah. And I think that you're seeing the same thing that, you know, 10 years ago, the NFC was so strong as far as you had San Francisco, Dallas always winning these Super Bowls. The power has changed. You've got it in the AFC. You've got only New England. You've got the returning Colts. You know, that New England Colts game was great last week. But again, there's not a lot of great teams out there. So there's a tier system. There's like four or five teams, and they seem to all be in the AFC.
Very much. I know. I hope it doesn't, you know, bode poorly for the Super Bowl being here, because it won't be necessarily a good matchup, AFC and NFC.
Yeah, it could be two AFC teams that really should be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, really, I hear you. We want to talk about Kurt Warner a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. We always feature a Cardinal player, and this week it's going to be Kurt Warner. And last week he had a real tough game against Tampa Bay, and he went out in public and said that that game really stung and hurt him, that they did not win that game. This week they're playing the Detroit Lions, a team that not only is winning real well, but also the offensive coordinator for Detroit used to be the head coach for Kurt Warner in St. Louis and kind of ran him out of town. So we think that Kurt Warner is going to have a real good game this week. We think he could even throw for over 300 yards and maybe 2 touchdowns. So he's got a lot of reason to play well. He wants to get back on track.
Yeah, payback time. And he's still got it.
Yes, he does.
Still doing well.
Absolutely.
Are we done?
Well, we're going to also, we know we have this free trial offer, a free giveaway of our premium tools at fantasyfootballstarters.com. It's a $15 value, and we are giving those tools away to anybody that emails me, Jeff at fantasyfootballstarters.com. We'll give them free access for the rest of the season.
Very nice, and it's not too late to win it all.
Oh, this is the time you want to focus on winning.
Good. Thanks for coming in, Jeff. Good luck to all the fantasy football players out there, too.